everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm sorry if you hear banging in the background. They're installing new stairs outside of my apartment, but I heard they say mañana, which I'm pretty sure means tomorrow, so I think they're gonna stop soon. In today's video, I want to talk about personal statements. So as you probably know, I provide services where I check personal statements, and I've been doing it for a while now, and I actually checked a lot of personal statements by now, and I actually noticed some common patterns that I see almost in every personal statement I read, and I just wanted to mention those patterns so you wouldn't make this mistake in the future. Also, I asked you guys to ask me some questions about personal statement on my Instagram. In the end of this video, I will answer those questions. So first, very common thing people say during their personal statements is this exact phrase, and raise your hand if you have this in your personal statement and go correct it right now. So this phrase goes like this: first time I delivered dentures, crowns, veneers, whatever, to my patient and gave them a mirror, I saw tears on their eyes, and that filled my heart with joy. Check if your personal statement has that, because I can tell that in every second personal statement I probably see that phrase, and I mean, it's probably true. It's very emotional to see your smile transform, and I can see that many patients would start crying, and I think it's normal. But seriously, judging by how many people write it in their personal statement, average dental office should be just a sob fest. So it's not bad that you feel so emotional about your patients, and it's actually really good. It would be a good thing to talk about during the interview, but so many people write that in their personal statements that I do not think it's a good idea to include it in yours. Because think about how many times a person like me, who reads a lot of personal statements, or admissions committee, who reads much more personal statements than I do, sees that phrase. Do you think that it's gonna stand you out aside of people who read that exact same sentence a million times? I don't think so. So even if it did make you feel very emotional, it's probably not a good idea to include in your personal statement. Another thing that is very, very common, and I guess it's very common because a lot of people care about it, but it's so common that it makes me just not read it. I just skip through it because I feel like I know what this phrase talks about. And this phrase concerns serving the underserved. A lot of people talk about the mission trips or about their volunteering opportunities. Of course, a lot of people do that, and that's wonderful. That is a great experience to put on your resume. That is a great experience to talk about on your interview. But on a personal statement, it's such a common theme, and there's no way to describe it more than once. In the portion when they decide to describe their future plans in the United States, a lot of people decide to include their serve the underserved community part. And it is a great idea to do that, and I hope you do that in the United States. That's probably even more common than the first thing I mentioned. If people followed up on what they write in their personal statement, there will not be any more underserved communities. All of the homeless people would have a perfect 6 front veneers, because so many people actually promise they're gonna serve the underserved, but nobody will actually do that. Do you really think you will go and serve in some rural practices in Oklahoma? That's probably not gonna happen. So most people are gonna end up in private practices. So reading like that in your future plans in the United States, you just ignore this part. You just read it as, okay, this is a space filler. And I don't mean to offend anybody. If you get offended by what I'm saying here, I don't mean to. If you actually want to participate in a community service, it's absolutely wonderful. I hope you do. But you either will have to describe it in something more original, or focus a large part of your application on just the serving the underserved portion, or just skip it altogether, because it's so common that it's just not interesting to read, and it would bring your chances of getting in down because you're lowering your readability of your personal statement. Another thing that I wanted to mention, that will be my last point for this video, is listing things as if your personal statement is your resume. It could appear in many parts of your application. For example, if you're talking about your skills or what you learned in specific program, you can mention that I did sinus lifts, I did implant placements, I did implant restorations, and you keep on mentioning that in your personal statement. like with a comma. I did this, that. When you start listing things like that, it becomes very difficult to read the text. It sounds like a grocery list. Or for example, the same thing can happen when you list your achievements or your CEs or your courses you did or conferences that you went to. For example, I went on a conference for implant placement. I attended a course of Dr. So-and-so. By doing so, you lower the readability of your text. It sounds like a grocery list, and it becomes very uninteresting and difficult to read. So you automatically skip through those listing parts, and there you go, you just wasted a very important real estate where you could have wrote something that would capture the reader's attention. This is why I don't recommend including that and putting, instead of personal statement, putting it into your CV or your resume. That way they can still see it. They still will know everything you want to tell them. They will still know that you attended all those seminars and you have those wonderful skills, but they will not have to read it in your personal statement. There you can actually tell them how much all those seminars meant to you and how much all those skills improved your career, improved your clinical performance. That's exactly what you should talk about in your personal statement. And those are the 3 most common mistakes that I see in most personal statements, and I wanted to keep them at 3 because I want to make more videos on this subject. Reading personal statements is my newfound hobby in life, and I really enjoy it. So now I want to answer some of your questions. I asked on Instagram if you have any specific questions about personal statement writing, and right now I would like to answer some of them. How to present yourself in SOP, like how to mention your lows and highs, your failures and achievements. And first of all, you should not mention your lows and your failures in your personal statement. Put your best foot forward. Only the positive things should go in your personal statement. Forget about the lows and forget about your failures. If they ask for it, have a good explanation, but definitely don't try to write excuses for them in your personal statement. What not to say or things to avoid. Those are exactly those 3 things that I just mentioned. Try to avoid them, and I think your personal statement would be better than maybe 50% of the applicants. How to start the SOP. Starting the SOP is probably very difficult for people who have not done it before, have not done a lot of writing, and I have a whole video about general how to write a personal statement, and I will link it somewhere. I'm not good with this technology. If I don't manage to link it, I will provide a link in the description below, and I would recommend you watch that video first because I talked much more in depth in that particular video about that. But generally, I like when people start with something that is not related to dentistry, like with their families or something very personal, their childhood experience with dentists maybe, or something like what inspired them to become dentists. That's usually a good start because it shows you the person. You know, it doesn't. When you start with just how great you were as a, as a dentist and all your achievements right away, it kind of feels abrupt. So you need a little bit of introduction. So family part could be a good idea. What points should get highlighted in SOP? Usually highlighted points should be the ones that you can talk a lot about. Think about your personal statement as your pre-interview. What would you like to be asked on your interview? What can you talk about the most? What is the part of your career, previous academic career, that you're most passionate about? Next question is format, question mark. Mention only qualifications. And qualifications is probably what you should not mention. Qualifications should definitely go into your CV and resume, but personal statement is where people want to see you as a person who is behind this application, so they already know about all your qualifications. Don't think that they don't know about it and you have to show it over and over again. They already know that. Just tell them what you feel like. What did it feel like to be in dental school? Why do you want to become a dentist in America? That's what they want to hear, and not your qualifications. What to write in why dentistry in US if we got married and came here. I understand you very much. That is exactly what happened to me, and that is exactly your reason for why dentistry in the United States, because you came here. And basically I wrote that it was very difficult to leave my career behind in Russia, but I got married and I had to start all over, and that is exactly your reason why you need to study dentistry in the United States. I think it's pretty serious reason. I don't know how to start the personal statement and what to include. Definitely check out my previous video. Can you read your own? I actually was thinking about it, and at first I thought it was very personal to read my own personal statement on the internet, and I didn't feel like including it in my videos. But I'm actually thinking, because I'm providing this editing services, I was thinking to include it on my website as an example of my writing, so you could see what I actually sound like in writing. So if I do that, I will let you know either here or on Instagram, so stay tuned for that. How long should it be? It should be 5,000 characters. I'm stuck with paragraphs and don't feel like my SOP flows as one. Need some advice. It's a big problem. A lot of people just write paragraphs and they don't sound like a one cohesive personal statement. I like when people start and finish with the same idea. For example, on the top of my head, my inspiration to become a dentist was my mother. That could be your introduction, and you talk a little bit about your mother or something, anything like that. And in the conclusion, you return to that, saying something like, being a dentist as I am now makes me hope that my mother is proud of me. This way, you include your mother in the beginning and include your mother in the end, and it's like a little tie between the entire text, and it doesn't feel like separate paragraphs anymore. It feels like it's tied together as one text. Well, that is everything I want to talk about today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That actually does really help my channel. If you want me to check your personal statement, which I love doing, as I mentioned, it's my new hobby. I love getting to know you guys. It's actually like not one-sided. It feels like it's two-sided, like you're responding something to me. I'd love to read a personal statement. There will be a link in the description for my website. I know, she has a website, she means business. There will be a link in the description where you can find all the information how to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're gonna have a great day. See you in my next one. Bye. Wait, Joe, give me a paw. Thank you. Good boy. Good boy.